Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. If you're new, my name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. And I'm here every night at 9:30 p.m. Central. We are working on the Splendid Sampler quilt along. You can find out more info at the Splendid Sampler. They're just about to start the quilt along up again, so it's a great time to check it out and get started. I'm actually working on the binding for my quilt. So we started this yesterday and I need to press it. So we need to press it first to get the little seam allowances all laid down nicely, and then we're actually going to press the entire thing in half like this, the whole entire length of the quilt, going around the whole quilt, just to prep it. It'll be ready to go. We're not done with the border yet, so or the quilting or putting it all together, so we won't need it for a while, but we're prepping it so it'll be ready. And I'm hoping we'll get our larger part of the borders sewn together. So we have a small border and a large border. We finished the small border yesterday. We have it wrapped around the quilt right here. So my smaller border is 2.5 inches, and then the big border is 12.5 inches, and so it'll look like that next to the quilt, to the Splendid Sampler quilt. I wrapped it around the Splendid Sampler book that just came out. So figured that was a good place for it. So all right, let's finish prepping this binding for tonight, and hopefully we'll get the larger border sewn and prepped as well. Oh, I did press the front of my quilt. I'll show you it. I think it's laying on the floor. I decided I can lay on the floor for a day, but there we are behind me there. I have it just sitting on the floor there, waiting to get borders sewn onto it. So that's all prepped and ready for tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll finally get these borders sewn onto the quilt. I'm excited. Thanks again for being here, guys. I'm going to flip you around and we will start pressing this binding. All right, I got the iron up close here tonight. Ooh, all my little, it's picking up. I didn't clear my scraps from yesterday, and I think I just threw my binding in the pile of scraps. So geez, here's some more. I'll be picking up scraps this entire time I press this. Any idea how you quilt the large border? So Joe, I think I'm going to straight line quilt it. So the vertical sides of the border, I'm going to do like vertical close, just big long rows, and then for the horizontal pieces, I'll just go horizontal, and then they'll meet in the corner, making little X's. So far, that's my plan. I don't know how to do too much fancy stuff with quilting. I have no practice with fancy quilting, machine quilting, and I didn't really want to start with the Splendid Sampler just because we spent all this time. I didn't want to mess it up with quilting, with my subpar quilting. So that's something I need to learn yet. I do have a darning foot, and that's what the free motion machines use, right? It's basically just a darning foot. I've tried it a little bit. There was one block for the Splendid Sampler that I tried using the darning foot to kind of do all the swirls and stuff of quilting, of machine quilting, but I don't know, the tension was weird. I don't know if it's something where I need the thickness of the 3 layers of a quilt to do the free motion better, but my tension was just all over the place no matter what I did, and that wouldn't fly. And I am doing it on my little machine here, which was never, I think, meant for that. Not like the machines today, the fancy new machines who know that people want to do their free motion quilting. So I don't know. I do have a little quilt. It's just a mini kind of practice quilt that I might bring out and just try some free motion embroidery. It'll be like my practice free motion embroidery thing. So I do want to see if I can do it on my little
little machine here. But for the Splendid Sampler, I think I'm just going to do the long rows. Really, should I be pressing these open? I'm gonna just press to one side. Yeah, because Joe, I know, so Joe's border for her Splendid Sampler quilt, we're doing a very similar border. So did you know what you were doing for your border, Joe? Because she has a kind of the inner border and then the large outer border as well. I mean, it would be lovely, I think, with, oh, look, I missed one. It would be lovely with a whole pile of, a designed, free motion quilting, like swirls or pretty shapes or something. But I don't trust myself for that yet. But again, I think I'll have to, one of these times we'll bring out that practice quilt and give it a go. How are you guys with your machine quilting? I know one thing, I have a hard time, I have a hard time drawing a shape and then trying to get out of it, because with free motion quilting, you're kind of just stitching you're making pretty patterns, but you're kind of doing it in one long line. So like if you draw a circle, you have to be able to get out of it somehow. Or if you draw like a pretty feather, you have to be able to get out of it to move on to the next feather, but have your line continue. You just doodle with free motion quilting. See, I think that would be super duper fun. That's why I want to learn. Like, it just seems like it's something I haven't really touched yet as far as learning stuff. And I love learning stuff, so I'm surprised I haven't really gotten into it yet. It's something I want to. But yeah, I love the idea of doodling with free motion quilting, so I don't know. I gotta get it going. Feathers are easier than you think. Oh man, I don't know. It's one of those things that I think you gotta practice in the sketchbook a little. The border is what you didn't know what to do with. Oh, you're having someone else quilt it. Oh, that's nice. You taught yourself how to free motion quilt. Takes lots of practice. Yeah. For me right now, it's just trying to see if I can even get my machine. There you go. Aim for 80%. For me, it's trying to see if I can even get my machine to function correctly. And it's, I'm sure, a lot of user error and in there too. But I know with that practice one that we did for the block, the front, I mean, sure, it looked all messy because I'm not good at, moving just slow enough so the stitch length is the same. I had some big jumps and some short little jumps and all that. But the tension thing is the thing that gets me, because the back looked crazy. The back looked like it was completely pulling the front, which in machine embroidery, you kind of want that, but not for free motion quilting, because in theory, then the back of your quilt, which you can see the free motion quilting on, that tension would be all messed up. So I don't know. I need to experiment with my machine, and you know what? Maybe my machine isn't just can't deal with it, But before I rule on that, I want to test it some more. But yeah, for this quilt, for the Splendid Sampler, I'll just be doing straight lines. You practice by having your fiance hold the pencil and move the paper. Oh, that's so funny. Sherry, I love it. That is just so cute. So what Sherry's saying is that she has her husband hold a pencil like that, and then she moves a piece of paper underneath to practice, because that's kind of how free motion is. You don't move your drawing device, you move the paper underneath the drawing device. So it's kind of like backwards, so you gotta get used to that on top of it all. Oh, you did massive rows of pebbles. Oh, see, that would be so cute. Oh, I like that. That would be a great way to fill up a big open space. So pebbles in free motion design is a bunch of circles, like all next to each other. Just like lots of circles. So you just go around and you go to the next circle and the next circle. I think that would be pretty fun. man, actually that would look really pretty in this border. But again, it's not so much, it's mostly figuring out the machine and if it can even do that. I don't have a proper machine embroidery foot. I do have a darning foot that I stole from my my machine embroidery machine, which is a cheap one too. So I think for free motion, really all you need is a darning foot, right? So I've lowered the feed dogs, used a darning foot, but still it's that tension more than anything. If I can get that tension, like the back of the piece as nice as the front, then I think I'm golden. At that point, then I can practice, you know? But until that, I think it's a technical issue, so I don't know. One of these weekends, I'll have to putz around with that. All right, we are all the way to the end here. This isn't taking that long. Maybe just because I'm chatting a bunch. So, all right, I am going to bring this whole guy back. I picked up something else here. Okay, and now, this is the part that will take a little bit of time. We are going to, I gotta make sure I'm in the right side. Yep. Yep. We're gonna go up this entire thing and fold and press. Let's see, I think it'll be easier for me to fold. So when we do the binding, if you're doing this on your quilt, working on the binding, when you fold this, make sure your right side is out. This is gonna be the decorative piece. So what we're gonna end up doing is this will be sewn to our quilt, and then we'll like pretend like my hand is the quilt. We'll sew it to the back or to the front of the quilt, and then we'll flip it over to the back. Let's get lower here. Flip it over to the back, and I'll hand stitch it on. So ultimately, it will be on the quilt like this. This seam allowance will be sewn in, and then we'll have this nice folded edge. So to start out, I need to fold the whole entire length, like everything we just ironed, and fold it in half and iron it again. And when you're doing this, remember the right side has to be out. In my case, the right and the wrong side are the same in this blue fabric. But if you're working on yours, make sure that you do the right side out. All right, this is going to take some time. You know what? I'm not sure what batting I'm going to use. Well, I know what batting I'm going to use, but I don't know what it is. I have some I'm trying to use up all like supplies that I have around the house. So I have some batting from forever ago, and I think that's my plan. Just in time for fun ironing. I think that's all we're doing, Rosalie. But we did press it initially to get the seam allowances flat. Now we're doing the whole length. It's actually not going too bad. Sometimes this just gets out of hand, I feel like it starts pulling weird, and I don't know, but so far it's okay. Just gotta take your time. But I love the binding. You know, we were talking about this the other day. It's either a love-hate thing for people. I kind of love it. It's the last step of the quilt. It finishes the edge and just makes the whole thing magically look beautiful and finished. So I just kind of love it. Oh, this is good fabric because it's not acting all weird. Yeah, sometimes when you do the binding, especially, I mean, this will happen naturally if you're doing a bias binding, which means you've cut your fabric at a 45-degree angle instead of a 90-degree angle. You love the binding, that's awesome. But sometimes when you press, it'll start stretching, and then you'll have this curve going, and you don't especially want that. So I don't know. This is working great so far. So yeah, could be quality of fabric too for sure. Bet you that makes a difference. I'm going slow. Oh, the jean quilt. I was just actually thinking about that today. I am still working on the quilting of the jean quilt. My jean quilt is, I've been working on a quilt for it's been kind of literally 8 years now, on and off, made out of basically my husband's jeans. It's a log cabin quilt, and I decided to hand tie it. And I got the bulk of the hand tying done. So I feel like I'm in the home stretch of the jean quilt, which is a tiny miracle. So I need just a couple more days sitting down, finishing the quilting. Oh, you know what? I didn't make a binding yet, though. Oh, I should have cut out binding for that right away. So I'll have to. What I'm doing now, I'll have to do for that quilt yet too. Bummer. I wish I had that done. Oh well. So a few more steps on that, but it's coming along too. Once this quilt is done, you're going to continue nightly live stream. You're going to hand sew with us or offline. Okay, Sherry, I am definitely going to be continuing these. I was actually doing the live streams before the Splendid Sampler started, and which seems crazy. We've just been working on the Splendid Sampler exclusively for over a year, just because I never got done with it fast enough. But I am hoping to do some more projects. We'll continue right when this sampler is done. I will be sending a newsletter out about that soon. So if you're not on my newsletter list, if you're on Facebook, you can go to the Penguin and Fish Facebook page and click free pattern. The free pattern is you get a free downloadable embroidery pattern, but you also get signed up to my newsletter. So if you sign up there, I will be sending a newsletter out soon. But I plan on doing a whole designer series. So we're going to do some other projects by other designers. And to start out, I'm going to do some quicker projects, not a gigantic quilt like the Splendid Sampler again, but some quicker projects. Oh, you think you signed up? Awesome, Sherry. That's great. So in a few days, I got to write it first, but I'll get a newsletter out about that. I'm trying to kind of, it's not completely scheduled because I don't know like when we'll be really done with the Splendid Sampler, and I don't quite know how some of these projects work. But we're going to do a few, like the first designer I'm going to work with is Patty Young. And she has this great little like folio fabric, like an art portfolio that you can put crayons and pencils and all that. And I thought that would be just really, really adorable and fun. So some fun smaller projects. And then I have a unicorn stuffed animal toy by Heidi Boyd. And there's going to be kits for all these too. So I will let you guys know before, like at least a week, maybe probably 2 weeks, a week and a half to 2 weeks before I start the next project, because I want you guys, if you want to sew with me, I want to, give you enough time to order the kit from the designer. So that's a couple things we'll be doing, and I'll have more info on that and how it'll kind of work coming up in my newsletter. And it's basically, it'll be like this. We'll pick some projects by some awesome designers, and they'll have kits available sometimes and patterns available, and we can stitch them together. And I'll give you enough time to order it too. Because some of them, with the Splendid Sampler, it came out over a long period of time, so you have plenty of time to order it. But with some of these smaller projects, if you want to stitch it with me, you'll probably need to get it before we start, because some of them will only take like a week or so, or even shorter maybe. But I'm excited. I've been talking to a lot of designers to see if they'd be interested in us in me doing their kits or patterns online here with you guys, and a lot of people have been really open to it. So I'm excited. We're gonna put together a little series. We'll do more of these. Then we'll also be doing more embroidery stuff too. So more Penguin and Fish embroidery stuff. We just finished, actually it's been a little while now, but a couple weeks ago we finished the bunny stitch along of that embroidered bunny kit, which is actually now in my Splendid Sampler quilt. I cut it out of the hoop, or I tore it out of the hoop, and made a block out of it for my Splendid Sampler. But we'll be doing more of that too. And those will be a little different. Those will be a little earlier and just last a little bit. So I'll always keep this 9:30 Central Time show, just like what we're doing now. And then we'll pop in and do some of those penguin and fish projects every once in a while too, a little earlier. So that's my general plan. Got to figure it all out kind of still. But definitely not leaving. I will be continuing these every weeknight. Wish more quilters and crafters and live streams like this. Oh, love interaction with the people. Sherry, that is totally my favorite thing about it. For sure. I mean, I've learned just so much from hanging out with you guys, and it's just like fun, right? It's my little, it's like a little craft party in the evenings. No matter what the day's like, it's always fun to hang out with you guys at the end of the day. And when I started this, oh gosh, probably close to 2 years ago that I started these live streams every night. Oh my god, that seems like crazy. Holy cow. Yeah, it's almost probably 2 years. It's at least over a year and a half. And I don't know, I've gotten more. I started it because, you know, I'm in a crafty business, but I wasn't making things anymore. I just was stuck in the day-to-day, and I'm like, oh my god, I am not crafting, I am not making anything, and, you know, I'm having no relaxing time. This is crazy. I need to figure out a way to build in some crafting. And it was just when live video was starting, you know, that's when Periscope was going, and I think Facebook Live wasn't out quite yet, or it was very not good yet. Very crude still. But yeah, just making the decision to do this every night has been like my best decision in the past 2 years for sure. And like for me, it is all about that I get to hang out with you guys every night. And I get to make stuff every night after not making things for like years. For fun. So I'm glad, and it, you know, versus just videos, like it is nice. I do like that you know, I can talk to you guys right away, because you know I have questions a lot, and you guys are always so helpful, and it's fun to chit chat, and I like getting to know you guys. It's been really fun for me. Crafting so much better than therapy. Oh god, probably more expensive, but that's kind of funny. It could be. Oh man. Depending on how you craft, I suppose. Yeah. I'm at this stage, or you know, not the stage, but every once in a while I get in a kick of like, oh my god, I have to finish all the things and get rid of all the fabric and all my yarn before I buy anything new, and I'm kind of in that stage now. I want to open all my bins of fabric and keep making stuff till all the bins are empty, which will be never, but you know, still. Oh, you found me a month ago on YouTube. Oh, fun. Had no idea about the live stream. I just happened to find you on Facebook and I got notifications. Oh, well, that's cool. Well, welcome, Sherry. I'm happy you found me over there. So I have been putting these up on YouTube when I'm done. And so I'm trying to learn YouTube a little bit more as well. I'm hoping to do some more videos. You know, right now I'm just doing these live videos. I have a few not live videos up there. But I want to do more tutorial how-to ones, just real quick and simple, so you can get an idea, like, here's how you do a French knot. You're in and out. You get how to do it. You don't have to watch like an hour live thing to understand it. So I do want to contrast my live videos with some just real quick learn it fast sort of videos as well. So those will be up on YouTube. Hopefully I'll get on those later this year. But yeah, I'm having fun with figuring out YouTube and all that stuff too. All right, we are getting there, guys. I know it feels like this is, you could just watch this for like meditation probably without my voice. But this is like watching just me ironing this strip in half over and over again. It's kind of like watching, I don't know, the Yule log, or what is that, during Christmas when they have, or the holidays when they have that fire going on TV. It's kind of just like that, or the fish aquarium on TV. Just the same thing over and over again. But we're getting there, and it's going to feel really good to not have to prep this later when we get everything quilted, and all we want to do is be done and do the binding. It'll be nice that the binding will be ready and waiting for us. Oh, there you go, exactly. Conversation makes it go by quicker. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh man, I still got quite the pile beneath me here, but we're getting there. And I think we'll have plenty of time to sew the big borders together yet too. I have to trim the selvages off of the big border pieces, and then we're just gonna, there's 8 of them, I think there's 8 of them. Yeah, there must be. There's 8 of them, and we'll just sew them in groups of 2, and that'll be it. Oh yes, so if you guys follow Pat Sloan, she is the person, along with Jane Davidson, who started the Splendid Sampler. She posted on Facebook and Instagram that she's working on some of the blocks again, and she's working on my embroidered block 11 and the Be Brave little embroidery block that I did as a bonus block, or as like a little freebie block. So yeah, if you guys wanted to get started, I know some of you haven't started the Splendid Sampler yet, and they haven't done the they haven't started it up again, but they will, I think, in May. Oh, it is May. I think later in May sometime. But the my Be Brave block is still available. It's actually not a block, but you can turn it into a block. It's the embroidery pattern, and it's free, and it's on the Splendid Sampler site in the freebies area. I put that guy in my quilt too. Oh, you just got home from the hospital? Oh, well, I hope you're feeling better. Looking forward for a fresh start. Oh, yes. So videos will be up for sure. You know to go to Quilt Guild. Oh, so Rosalie, I'm the same with you there. It's nice. I don't know. I'm just like really introverted, I think. I don't know, maybe I don't seem that way when I'm on here, but I'm in like the safety of my home kind of. I don't know, I don't like going to big groups of things and stuff all the time. So like quilt guilds and all that. So this is, for me, this is much nicer to hang out with you guys this way. I don't know, it's good to do that, but I wouldn't be able to do that every day. Whereas I can do this every day. I do like going to those things. I just, wouldn't be able to do it every night. Some people love that though. They could go out every night and hang out every night, but oh my god, I would just be exhausted. Shouldn't stress out about finishing UFOs if you know in your heart of hearts that you're never gonna finish. Yeah, so Diane, I totally agree with that. I actually found some UFOs the other day, and I think I'm going to just basically toss them. There's some old ones, like latch hooks that I did when I was little, and you can't see the pattern anymore, so it's basically useless. But I think there's something to be said about that. You don't have to totally stress about your UFOs. And you know what? Sometimes a UFO, and when I say a UFO, I mean an unfinished object. That's kind of the term that crafters and quilters like using. It just means in one of your projects that's just sitting around and you haven't finished it yet, right? Sometimes you got what you needed from it. You know, you don't need to finish. You already got what you needed from it. You know, maybe when you started it, you just needed to test out an idea. You needed to play with colors, and that's all you needed it for. And so you don't have to feel like you have to finish it because it's already served the purpose it was intended to, right? Or maybe you wanted to learn a new technique and you learned it by starting this new project, and maybe you didn't especially like the technique. Why finish it? You got what you wanted out of it. You learned the technique, you made a decision on how you felt about it, That's all you needed that project for. And you know what? Sometimes you can just give that project to someone else. It might be their most favorite project ever, and you'll feel like you've gotten it done. And you know what? Sometimes it's kind of weird, but not doing a project and just deciding, nope, I'm not doing that, and either giving it away or taking it apart or whatever, sometimes that gives you the same bodily sensation of actually finishing the project. It's totally weird, but it's not on your list anymore, it's not taking up space anymore, therefore it is done and it has the same feeling about it. So I don't stress too much about unfinished projects because I totally agree with you. But sometimes you see them and you still like it. And sometimes you start a project and then it's just not time to finish it. And then all of a sudden, years later, you're like, you know what? I'm digging this again. I'm gonna break this guy out and finish it. And it was just the right time. All right, we are approaching the end of this. A giant pile of binding. So it's a pretty large queen-sized quilt, so there is a lot of binding. All right, about 18 inches or so left. Man, I thought I could get one more sweep, but we'll have to do two. I'm excited to sew the binding on, even though I know that will be for a long time yet. People sew their binding on in all sorts of ways, or they start and end their binding, and I have a way that I like to use, and I'm excited to do that again. Here's the end. I know, see how fast it's gone with conversation? That's for sure. And you know what? I did not burn myself once, so that's a feat in itself. All right, so here it is, my giant pile. I'm going to just scooch my ironing board out of the way. Okay, let's get all these scraps out of the way too. Scissors and stuff. All right, so I want to, I'm going to wind this up just so it, so it's not in a crazy bunch like that. So some people like rolling it around like a paper towel roll or something like that. We actually rolled the border yesterday around a book, which was kind of cool. That was a neat idea. I think I'm going to, I have like this wool, this might be weird, but I think I'm going to just, since I didn't have a paper towel roll, I thought, I could just roll up this and it'd be like a paper towel roll. So this will just keep it all in one spot, and it'll be like this soft surface for it to go on. So I'm just going to roll it on this guy here, and then we'll just clip it in place with a Wonder Clip, I think. So just keeping it safe until we're ready to use it, which will be a while yet. I'm kind of rolling it in the wrong direction compared to how I rolled the wool, but oh well. It's pretty against this. This is kind of like what our quilt is a little bit. Ooh, close. So I'm trying not to stretch it or anything. But the sooner I do this, the better, because I don't want, this pile to get all crazy on me. Jeez, this is going to take forever just rolling it on this guy. But here you can see one of our seams. This is what was so nice about doing that angled seam. So it's dispersed over the whole edge like that. So versus it just being totally vertical. So that'll just make it lay nicer. We won't have that big bulk of having that double seam there, seam allowance. Pile's getting smaller. Uh-oh. Going a little too fast there. I lost my my edge. Can't have that. I was unfolding it a little bit. There we go. I gotta be more careful. I don't want to lose this pressed edge. I pressed it dry. Like I didn't have steam in the iron. I wonder if that helped it not stretch. Like how I was saying, how sometimes it'll start curving or I'll stretch the fabric funny. I wonder if that's because I usually have steam in my iron and I didn't this time. Although steam would have given me like a nice hard edge here. I mean, it's fine now, but it started to get weird in that one spot. Started to undo itself. I wasn't paying attention. In the end, it'll be fine. Almost there. Yeah, and we still have time to do this. The border pieces, I think. Oh, see here, I'm folding it funny again. Hey, Felicia, thanks for coming in. Wow, it's getting ornery at the end here. A lot more on here than I thought there'd be. Okay, there's the end, and I'm going to just grab a wonder clip here, a blue one, clearly, and we will just clip the end to some other bits. So there, here is the binding that we can store for later. So we got that done. We got the border done. The border just happens to be the same size as the binding here. I think it looks cute on the Splendid Sampler book. All right, so all we have left now is the big border. So I have the pieces here. So these are rather large. They are 12 and a half inches wide. These are all the folded edges. So there should be 8 of these. Let's count quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, great. Okay. So we do need to cut these selvages off. We actually don't need to cut both off, just one. Yeah, maybe we just bother cutting off one. I don't know, or we'll do 2 right away. Might as well do 2. We got it on the fold, all nice here. I'll just trim it quick. Let's move this guy out of the way. Okay. So these are cut right off the bolt, meaning it's got this folded edge on one side, and both selvages, which are the sides of the fabric, are folded on this side, and it looks like these selvage little dots are kind of ending up in the same place. So I'm going to just lay this flat. I'm going to try and, this bottom edge, I'm going to align on one of the lines of my board, my cutting board, just because then when I line it up this way, then, you know, when I line my ruler up along one of these lines, then I know that my edge will be, you know, pretty square. I'm going to do a few at once. So I have, how many? I had 8 total. I think we can, I'm wondering if I can cut. We'll just do 2 at a time. How about that? I'm not sure I'd be able to cut more than that at a time. So we'll have 4 layers of fabric here. All right, I got it aligned along a ruler edge, and let's do it. Okay, rotary cutter. You can see, here's my phone. So, I don't know if you guys know, let me show you. I'm going to take you guys off here. So, I have, this is my stand, and if my face is right here, the phone then hooks in the stand, and then I work right here. So the stand is actually in between my face and the work, and that's how I can, like, see, you can see me, oop, there, hi. So that's how I can read you guys' comments and kind of work at the same time. It's got a phone in my face the whole time. Okay, first little bit. Your dog takes over your crochet. That's nice of him. All right, first cut. I'll just throw this on the chair behind me. Man, it's weird working with such big pieces of fabric. It's been a while. We've just been working on all the tiny pieces for the Splendid Sampler blocks. It's a huge piece of fabric. It'll be interesting to sew this to the quilt. So I said earlier that I have the quilt. I pressed the front of my quilt today, so that's all ready and waiting for these borders. So after tonight, I'll bring the quilt over here and we'll get that inner border sewn on for sure. That'll be nice. I don't know if I'll press it all though, because that'll be pretty unruly. I had to press the front of the quilt on the floor in the living room today because I don't think there's enough space here. So when we press the borders after we sew them, I think I might just wait to press them later, or I might just press the little edge that the other part of the border, like, you know, the border, you know, that would go here, press just that edge so it's flat when we sew the other one on. Oh, you've been working on an alphabet baby quilt. Oh, for fun. Fun, fun, fun. That's actually one of the projects. I'm not sure what alphabet quilt you're doing, but I have a whole alphabet of animals that are embroidery patterns. So, like, you know, an animal for each letter of the alphabet. I have a whole alphabet of those, of patterns, and I have a quilt pattern for it. It's not for sale yet, the quilt pattern, but that's one of the stitch-alongs I'd love to do. We probably won't get to that one this year yet, but it's going to be, because this is going to be a huge project. It'll be like the Splendid Sampler, where we're embroidering 26 blocks for, you know, 26 letters of the alphabet, and then sewing it into a quilt. But I do think that would be a fun project for us here. So after we do some small projects to get some small projects done, then we might tackle that big project. I need a big project cleanse after the Splendid Sampler and just do some small projects for a little bit. So I think think that's my plan. Okay, don't need that ruler anymore. All right, so we got these all ready. Now I just need to sew them together 2 by 2. You know, so we have borders, 4 borders that are two of these pieces long. So, all right, let's get the sewing machine over here. I moved the sewing machine just a hair so I could bring the ironing board towards me. So let's rotate him. Move these guys. Ugh, sewing machines have to be so heavy, don't they? Okay. Got him back here. There we go, machine. Okay, so we just need to sew these 2 by 2. So I just have to make sure that I have 2 edges for each piece. They're rather large at this point. So there we go. So I'm doing this different than our smaller bits. I'm not doing it at an angle. I probably could. I think I might have just enough fabric to do that, but I don't know. I think this is fine. We're just gonna straight line it. Okay. Get this guy on. I have my dark blue thread in here already. Ooh, and a starter is all ready to go. I could just go. You could pin this if you wanted to, or wonder clip it, but meh, I'm just gonna go down the edge and hope it ends up fine. How about that? You know, make sure to have right sides together. Again, in my case, they're the same, the right sides and the wrong sides. Ooh, I gotta move this fabric with it. Man, this hand has a whole new job now. It's gotta move all this fabric along. It's funny. Definitely have not had that job in a while. Okay, let's chain piece this guy. So push all that fabric up here. Okay, next 2 pieces. We only have to do 4 of these, so that's nice. Okay, there's a piece in there. Kitty scratch these in place. By kitty scratch, that's kind of a term that we made up here, but it's when you want to place your 2 edges together. Like I want to place this edge right on top of this edge, but sometimes you don't get it perfect. But if you just scratch it a little bit, sometimes you can move that top piece in place. And I don't know. We're calling that kitty scratching. Like if you scratch the top of a kitty's head. All right, how are we doing at the bottom here? We're good. Machine does sound better after we cleaned and oiled it the other day. That was new for me. Sad to say. All right. Next up, there's just 2 more to do. First bit. Second. I just want to make sure that I'm not sewing the same piece of fabric together, like because it's folded in half. I want to make sure I'm not sewing one folded side to the other folded side on accident. So far, so good. Oh, awesome, Diane! Getting so much done working along with you. That's awesome. I've definitely gotten so much more crafting done by doing it every night here. Versus, so I've turned into a person that believes that tiny little bits of consistency gets more stuff done than throwing a large chunk of time at something. So I feel like all these little consistent acts of, sewing every night and crafting every night, I've finished so many more things than if I just have a big craft session. Because there's always an excuse to not do the big craft session, Like, I'm going to craft all Saturday, That never seems to happen like that. But these itty-bitty bits of time sure get a lot done. Yeah, it keeps from burnout as well, totally. Yeah, this is like my little respite from, a hard day too. Which is a little problemsome because, I could be so tired, but then I do the live stream here with you guys, and I'm so pumped afterwards because it's always fun, and we are always get further on a project. So then I sometimes have a hard time going to bed just because I, have so much energy after it. Finished over 100 things, that's for sure. Those 100 blocks, that's crazy. Oh, so they're starting up the Splendid Sampler again. I won't be doing all the blocks, but I might do a block here or there during the process, and maybe a little differently. Like maybe we'll turn the block into a bigger block, or play around with it a little differently. Oops, I didn't cut off all the selvage here, but that's okay. It's going to be in the seam allowance. But little things like that. So, we'll be doing the designer series, like doing some of these, like I said earlier, we'll be doing projects by other designers when we're done with the Splendid Sampler. But every once in a while, we'll pop back into the Splendid Sampler and stitch a block or two here and there. And I'll definitely be watching what's happening over there too. So if you guys are doing the Splendid Sampler and you have a question with the block, feel free to ask me about it during the live stream, even if I'm not working on it. I'll keep my eye on what the current block is. Oh, that's awesome, Diane. Yep, that's how I feel too. I'm not doing this alone. And like what Rosalia was saying, it's just it goes so much faster when you're yapping the whole time. Magically, things get done. This is the last border right here, guys. So this is gonna be it for the night. Oh, let's trim them apart yet. Oh, you know what? We should press them. Let's try pressing these giant guys open tonight yet too. I think I might have just enough time to do that. Just enough time tonight to press them. Ugh, that's gonna be awkward though with these giant pieces. All right, we chain pieced them, so let's snip them apart. Actually, I think these might be easier to iron than I think. We really should iron the whole thing though, not just the seam, right? I don't know. I think we're just gonna iron the seam. But this fabric was pretty wrinkly if I remember. All right, I think we might have to iron the whole thing. But all right, let's get the iron back. First, we're gonna deal with the seam. So I think how we're gonna do this is I'll get the seam up there. Turn you guys a hair. We have to set the seam first by just pressing it when it's closed still. Okay, that's good. And I think I'm gonna just flip this guy up. And we will press that just like this. Oops, I pressed it a little early there. Yeah, wasn't that hard? There we go, and that's it really. But you know what? I think I'm going to let's press the whole border while we have it. So we'll do this for all four. This shouldn't take that long, though. I'm going to go pretty quick. There were some wrinkles, and we have that fold in here as well. It'd be nice if this was as flat as we can get it. See, there's that fold. Flat as we can get it before we sew it. I think I'm just gonna hang this on the back of my chair, and that's gonna be storage for it until we're ready. So it might get another little crease, but I don't think it'll be that bad. All right, so there's our center seam. Looking good. Give it another press now. And the edges, like all the way at the ends, we're not going to be using those, but I'll still press to the end. It feels so clean having a nicely pressed large piece of fabric. So we might go over a little bit tonight just to finish pressing these, but we will be all set to actually start sewing the borders on tomorrow. Like I said, I've prepped the front of the quilt already. That's all set. It's just waiting for me to get these borders ready. All right, that's the first one. Oh man, they're long though. How am I gonna? I think I'm gonna find that center piece again. Where'd it go? I'm gonna still have to kind of fold it twice. There we go. Throw that over the back of the chair. I think he'll be okay there. All right, we got 3 more of those to do, so a little bit of time to do all that. Oh, if you have an empty cardboard bolt, oh, that'd be a good idea. You know what, honestly, I just very recently got rid of all my extra cardboard bolts. I was storing a bunch of fabric in my closet, and it was too much, so I had to take off. I took the bolts out of all of it, so I could store more fabric in one place. The bolts were actually taking up too much space, the cardboard of it. Then I'm like, I can't have this around anymore. I was in cleaning mode, so no extra bolts. But we're gonna be using this pretty quick. If I wasn't gonna sew this border on right away, I definitely would find a decent way to store this. But I think over the chair won't be the end of the world. I need 2 hands to move this along, otherwise I could just keep ironing. There's our center. I think when we quilt that'll pretty much disappear. Even though I'll be quilting perpendicular to it, in theory, unless I change my mind on that. But what you can do. I don't have fabric that's wide enough to do a whole border. I suppose I could have cut it the long way, but that'd be kind of wasting fabric too, probably. Maybe not. Maybe that would have saved me fabric. I don't know. I'll never know. Unless I do the math, and that's not going to happen. All right, last bit. 2 more to do. Didn't take too long. Let's fold this guy up again. All right. He can go over the chair. Hopefully they'll lay flat enough on the chair. The chair is a curved back, so maybe that's not going to work. All right. Next one. Ooh, wow. See, look how wrinkly this is. That's why I wanted to make sure to press this whole thing too, because it's not, this fabric wasn't wrapped on the bolt very well. It has a lot of those little wrinkles. Okey-doke. Shimmy through this one quick. very wrinkly, this part of it. Definitely with the center fold. That middle fold, I want to get that as flat as possible. These middle pieces aren't so bad though. Man, no matter how much I clean though and get rid of things like those bolts, I never seem to have space. I don't know. One of these days I will use up every piece of fabric that exists and I will have empty closets and empty drawers. I don't know. If that day comes, that's probably not going to be a very good day. There's too many fun projects out there. Too many reasons to get more stuff, to make stuff out. Man, this is a little dirty, but hopefully it washes out. Maybe I won't see it once it's all quilted or something. Yeah, I don't know. This fabric got a little dirty somehow. Ooh, there's a big wrinkle. Actually, that's pretty close to the end. We might not even have to deal with it. If I cut the edge off. Okay, guys, one more, and then we will be done. Ready? Yeah, see there's a little stain on it there. Boo! If I would have caught that earlier, I could have put it so it was on the inside, but oh well. Okay. Last border piece. Ooh, plastic. Ooh, and spray painting them to look pretty. Ooh, I love that idea, Sherry. Getting some plastic utility shelves from Walmart and spray painting them. I think that would be cool. Oh, I just posted a cool storage idea. I don't know if you guys saw my Facebook post today, but I shared it from some other page. But it was using a magazine rack, like one of those magazine racks, metal magazine racks that you hang on the wall or like behind a door or something. And it's from IKEA. And putting all your rulers and cutting boards in there. I thought that was such a great idea because then it's vertical, like it's on the wall and out of your way. But it's different than hanging it on a hook because they're just sitting in that magazine rack. And you can just page through to the ruler that you want and pull it out, or the cutting board, and they're still out of the way. So I don't know. I live by an IKEA, so that I might get one of those. And Mom said to get one of those for her too if I'm running over to IKEA sometime. But IKEA, saving the day. Unfortunately, she looked it up on the website, IKEA website today, that magazine rack in that photo, you can't buy it online. So you have to actually go to an IKEA store to get it. So that blows, but you know, I live by an IKEA, so it's okay for me. But in general, if you wanted to do that idea, it's kind of a bummer that they don't ship it. I bet you they have them on Amazon and stuff too, though. When in doubt, Amazon, I guess. You should do a quilt along with your mom. Oh, that would be nice. I don't know if she'd want to do that. Well, she did do this. She technically did this quilt along with me. And her hand came into the frame every once in a while, I think, during the quilt along. But, yeah, that would be fun. Maybe, who knows? All right, last bit, and we are done. up and out of the way. Jeez, I can barely lift this high enough to fold in half. Okay, and that is that. I'm gonna flip you guys around, and we will call it an evening. Hold on, I'm still trying to get this over my chair. Alririghty. Look at, there's over there. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Oh no, I can't zoom in. But that's my gonna be my garden right there. That's kale and tomatoes and peppers from my parents' house. We're gonna plant them once it gets nice out. My borders, the inner border, the finished size will be 2 inches, and the finished size of the big border will be 12 inches. So ultimately I'm gonna have 14-inch borders, and that's so I can have a nice big overhang. It's for a queen-size quilt, so I want it big enough for to lay on top of the queen-size plus have a lot of overhang, kind of more than usual. So 14 inches total. And we'll get sewing those tomorrow. Oh, and here's, you guys can't see the bottom of my shelf. There we go. Here's all the borders ready for me tomorrow. Oh, and there, I think I showed you at the beginning, but there behind me, over there is, let's see if I can get my finger in here. Oh, there we go. Right there is my quilt ready to go. It's gonna stay there for the day tomorrow. But I have that pressed and it's ready to get the border on it. So I'm excited. This is gonna be a big deal getting the border on this. That means the whole front will be done. It might take us 2 days to do, but I think for sure we'll get at least the inner border on tomorrow. Maybe both. I don't know. That would be pretty awesome. But that's the plan for tomorrow. So join me. It'll be Thursday already. Sheesh. 9:30 p.m. Central here, and we'll get that border on. And this video will go up on YouTube this evening. So you can go to Penguin and Fish Movies. That's on YouTube, or just do a search for the Splendid Sampler, and my videos will probably come up as well. So that will be that. And thanks again for coming in, guys, tonight. I love chatting with you. I love having the evenings with you. And I'll be here again tomorrow. See you later. Good night.